And we're live. I'm looking for the damn thing, you know. Look at me. I'm like all of a sudden, boom, I'm around in the thing here. Let me change this. Let me change this. I won't be around. That's good. That works. Right there. You know what? I was supposed to have Frank Torsia come on the show. He wrote a book about addiction because his daughter was addicted to drugs. When she was in rehab, they wrote letters to each other every day for support. It was important to be there. And then he wrote a book called Love Letters. For Amber, really touching type of stuff. I mean, old brand, man, old world. We were Goombas from back in my old hometown. So we know each other 50 years, and then, he's got some stuff going on. His family had to be there for them. So he couldn't make the show tonight. And that's cool, because we're loose. We're loose here, man. So then I'm thinking, like, how am I going to talk about it? like, and then, of course, we just did the chat. And everybody watches the chat that's on kind of like from 7:30 to 10 o'clock ish or 10. What the hell time is it now? And then once we're done with that, then I come on and do this. So what I want to talk about? Last week I talked about how I got here, the emotional mess that I became recently, and that I pulled myself out of the hole. And you're gonna say, how did you pull yourself out of the hole? Because a lot of people know. A lot of people are in that hole. You go in that hole, and that hole is damn cozy. It's warm and cozy in there, and lonely. You know what I mean? It's not really a great place to be. You think that you can avoid the world like that, but you can't, because the world comes knocking on your door. So, and then I was always raised to be somebody who fights for what he believes in. So big, strong, that in my family. A lot of immigrants that came over that had to claw and go hungry to make a buck to support themselves. They weren't looking for entitlement or handouts or nothing like that. They came in and they worked hard. They built the society that you see. They built those buildings. They built those bridges. They put in all that infrastructure. These are the people that built America up, made America. They get hard knocks. Europeans and whatever. One group or another group doesn't matter. If you're doing well and you're working for positive goals, I think that's important. The one of the most powerful things about the United States of America is that we're a melting pot, all multicultures. All those cultures bring something different to the table, which makes us unique. I don't think that you'll find a lot of situations that have that much going on and that many groups. So growing up, I mean, I'm not full-blooded Italian, but I'm Italian. I was in the Italian group. I grew up in an Italian block, with my Italian grandmother and my half Italian mom. So you kind of stay in your groups, and it's kind of, what, you go through school like that. You go through school in your groups. The Jewish kids have their group. The Italian kids have their group. The Irish kids have their group, and then you kind of mix together and whatever. I liked all cultures. I wanted to experience. I'm a foodie, and food is what brought me into a lot of culture because, aside from Italian cuisine, some of the best cuisine in the world, and of course American. You know what I mean? You can't go wrong with straight up, because those are those cultures that. I mean, the pizza you'll buy in America is not the pizza you'll buy in Italy. The Chinese food you'll buy in America is not the Chinese food you buy throughout China, and so on and so on and so on, So, but that we all have our little angle that we add to things in this country, which makes things better. Because I think that you have a group coming together with different flavors of the mind. But anyway, when it came to like those holidays in school, we celebrated all the holidays, and it didn't matter, what, if it was Hanukkah, if it was Kwanzaa, we celebrated them and we learned about them. Then later on, many years later, it became a thing where you don't want to offend anybody, and we're going to take this out of school. It's not good for kids to be exposed to this. If they will be exposed to this, getting rid of this religion and that religion and whatever. You know what? When you do that, you're separating the cultures. When you do that, you're pulling people out of their comfort zone and telling them specifically this could be bad for you, this could be bad for your kids, and they make poor decisions by the overreaction. In the last 4 years, we've seen all the DEI, we've seen all the fake outrage, we've seen all the woke crapola. We've seen this all, and we've seen the damage it's done to people, to plain old people. Now you got Trump. Trump is Godzilla. It's Trumpzilla. Every day he comes out with something new. He's thinking. He's thinking. I'm thinking like, well, what? I like, what's he doing today? What are you doing? I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be hating on him. I'm very middle of the road, me personally, politically, and I understand what works. I understand what doesn't work. I'm old enough to know that you shouldn't trust politicians. Period. End of sentence. The person you want in there is the one who loves to make deals, who's not corruptible, because he's Trumpzilla. He's already got billions of dollars. When you got people with billions of dollars, he's got the richest man in the world, who's also an African American, by the way. I just have to add that in there. Richest man in the world, Elon Musk. This dude, how do you corrupt the richest guy in the world? He's got the best. I mean, he's the dude. One richest guy in the world, the whole earth. Nobody with more. This dude, right? He's got the best land, the best things, the best whatever, best. But he likes making the deal. But the only thing these guys have left in their lives, aside from global domination, is making the deal, the art of the deal, right? Making those deals and going down in history for making deals. This dude's coming out. He paid $3 million for sex changes in Guatemala. As a taxpayer, I don't want to pay $3 million for sex changes anywhere. Not anywhere. Guatemala, they're doing sex change operations on monkeys. I don't want to pay for that. They're giving $30 million in Iraq for Sesame Street, Iraq. I don't want to pay for that. I look at the taxes that I pay every month and I'm shocked. And I'm like, you know what? It's not like I can't use that money. It's not like I wouldn't put it to good use, right? And then once you have that money and you put it to good use, you're driving the economy. Well, shit, now I can afford to buy a pizza from the local pizza guy, once a week, maybe even twice a week. I like pizza. I'll spend my money locally, right? It's going to drive those businesses, drive the economy. If you don't have it, you can't spend it. It's that simple. Unless you start invading credit, and then they go after you that way. They need to do something about interest rates for credit and how they rip people off. 29%, and that's normal these days, I'm told. 29%, that's called loan sharking. Loan sharking. You know what a loan shark is? Fat Tony, I need a loan. All right. It's going to cost you 29%. You better pay me. I'm going to break your thumbs. All right. All right, Fat Tony. So that's where we're at. I had dreams of the government being audited. I had dreams of Fort Knox. Elon Musk wants to go in there with a live stream investigation camera because he thinks there's no gold in there. I too think there's no gold in there. People would laugh at me. It'll never happen, Michael. It'll never happen, Miguel. There'll never be a government audit. They'll never go into Fort Knox and look for that gold, sucker ass. You know what? You know something? They used to use a local football team there in the area, Fort Knox, to come in every year and turn the gold. Because you got to turn, I guess you got to turn it. you got to turn the gold. It was like sitting there. And then they would turn all these gold bars, thousands of them, right? It'd be a big thing. They did that all the time, every year until was it the early 70s? They stopped doing it. And then there was no reason why, nothing like that. It's security. Security. We have to stop it from happening. Yeah? Do you think there's going to be like a Walgreens type of mob coming in, stealing everything in sight? You think they would allow that in Fort Knox? You know how fast you'd be obliterated by the military there? But I think that they're unleashing these scandals. I think that they're opening people's eyes. I think that it's very large with transparency. I like transparency. I want small government. I want fiscal responsibility. I want accountability for politicians. I want to put our criminals in jail where they belong. And most of all, I want you to live better, not paying the high prices for food. You know what? The Democrats didn't care that you just lost a third of your wealth in the last 4 years, paying for stuff you shouldn't be paying for. That's none of our business. Had nothing to do with us. Now you're seeing billions that went out that got basically stolen, you know? So they need to recover that. So Trump said they've already recovered billions, and then he wants to give everybody a $5,000. He said not calling it a stimulus because it's money. It's your money. A refund of $5,000 for everybody, and that's going to stimulate. What do you think people are going to do with extra $5,000? You think they're going to put it in the bank and sit on it? Maybe a couple of bucks. People are going to spend it. They're going to spend it on things that they need. That drives the economy. When people are spending money, that drives the economy. Before all the stimulus, before all this stuff, I was doing a show in Ithaca, New York, right? And I said on the show that the government should issue everybody a $50,000 debit card that you have to spend the money within a year. You know, they were looking for a stimulus. Instead of giving the money to corporations, instead of giving the money to people who don't deserve it, you give the money to the working people. It's your money anyway. Here's $50,000. You can't use $50,000. You wouldn't make improvements on your home. You wouldn't buy a home. You'll buy anything, cars, whatever stuff for your damn kids. Whatever. It's your money. Spend it where you want to spend. You want to buy cotton candy? Go buy it. But you're spending money. You're driving the economy. Extra incentives for spending money locally. Extra incentives to go into farmers markets. You know what I mean? Extra incentives, man. That's the deal. And then if you need to shape shift the economy like that, especially after the last, they blame things on COVID. COVID had very little to do with the economy issue. Under Trump, the economy was great. In January of 2020, they asked all these people in the polls, how are you living in the United States? How do you feel? They said 93% said they wouldn't change a thing. That's huge, man. 93%. And these weren't Republicans. These were everybody, all kinds of people. 93%. Then COVID came. It affected people. The way the government reacted, the way they overreacted, the things that came about that really had nothing to do with science whatsoever, and on and on and on and on. And that went on, a lot of people lost their jobs because of that. There are people that just kind of got locked out of what they were doing, and Trump gave people payments like weekly pay basically so people didn't starve to death and whatever. I can only imagine when the Democrats were in there, they wouldn't have done that. They would not have done that. They're not there for you. I don't know who they're there for. I don't want to know. I kind of know. They're not there for you or me, but Trump made it so people were able to pay their bills and eat and whatever. And then that year, 2020, people got a big tax deduction. So they didn't have to pay taxes on that money that came in. And then the years that followed, but this is what happened. These corporations laid off tens of thousands of people and whatever, right? They were given all this PPE money from the government to support the businesses and keep them open so they didn't have to shutter, And then when the rehiring happened, it didn't happen for a lot of people in these industries. They made the remaining people do the job of 2 and 3 and 4 people, and then put the screws to them on underperformance. So they still are at a limit of where their pre-employment numbers are maybe a third of what they were before COVID. So now you see all these products being recalled for listeria. All these, a lot of products being recalled for all kinds of stuff, metal in this and whatever, and ammonia and that type of thing. They've lost a boatload of inspectors. They've lost a boatload of people that actually process the line. They make the ones that remain go faster. And they're by themselves doing it. So that all those industries, it's not just one, all of them that are going through these things, it's all created by the ones in charge. The ones in charge, and those are those CEOs. And I don't have a love for CEOs. I don't have a love at all for CEOs. As a matter of fact, I think they are not in touch. They are not realistic. And I'm not saying every company out there, because yeah, you're gonna have the old timers, that not the bean counters, but the people that realize that if they treat their employees well, they'll produce better, and then they don't think they work in some kind of hellhole that and their performance goes through the floor. So you want people to be able to perform. And I've seen this multiple times. I mean, in the industry that I'm in, I deal with a lot, and especially medical. And then you see how the teams that perform the best are the ones who are united as a team, and the ones that may sound silly, but the team building exercises, the things that you do together. And then even if you're working independently, you still feel like you're part of a team. And corporations know how to hook things. You're a family here. You're part of a family. No, you're not. your family is your family. Your company is your company. You have work friends. Sometimes you keep those work friends after that work is done, or that contract is done, or whatever. But when it comes down to it, it's the corporation. They don't treat you like family. They treat you like an employee. I love it when they say, like, they should when you come in the next morning, you should think about how you can do your job better. Think about how you can be more efficient. Make those goals for yourself and match those goals, and then beat those goals. Like it's a self-performance thing, But when they say that, all I would hear is work harder. You suck. Work harder. Good morning. Work harder. You know what I mean? Isn't that kind of how it goes? Work harder. Yeah. Well, how am I doing? You don't meet goal. Work harder. That's my little angry guy that's in my brain. I don't know where he came from. Some other planet Uranus, I think. Work harder. Yeah. Not, hey, you're doing a great job. I appreciate that. Whatever. They'll say that to everybody. 40 people on a team. You're doing a great job. Don't think that you're not doing a great job. Everybody's doing a great job. There's no individualism, man. So, but in my world, it's much different, and the challenges are extreme. So, and I'm happy with it. I like it like that. It keeps my brain going, so it doesn't turn to mush, And I get to help people, man. I get to help people, and that's the most important thing. Because if you're not helping people, nobody's helping people, and then people that need the help. Sometimes they don't get the help that they need. So I respect people who suffer because they need it the most. And I think that we need to fix things. All of our systems need to be revamped in this country. All of our charity systems, all of our social service systems, everything needs to be examined and revamped to help people get on their feet, and help them be self-sufficient, right? Is very important. I think that's important for people's self-worth. It's important for young people to understand that also, that it's not about working hard, it's about quality, and what makes you happy also. You shouldn't be in a job that doesn't make you happy. I'm in positions in my life, I do a lot, but everything I do, doesn't make me upset or unhappy, right? They'll never find me complaining about it. And I know a lot of people unhappy in their jobs, and you got to look for something else and something that fits you. Maybe it doesn't fit you, maybe that position is not good for you, and then you think, oh, I can't go on. Well, go out there and Indeed and put your stuff out there, see who answers what and who says what. I mean, take those experiences. When I had downtime in my life, I went back to school. I did things. I got my certificates and I did this and I got that and got the degree and whatever. You go forward, never stop moving. You got to keep going forward. And when you stop, if something stops you, that's when everything falls apart. Everything falls apart, peels away, and then where are you? And then your hopes and your dreams, you start becoming overwhelmed. You ever feel overwhelmed? You ever feel overwhelmed, like just everything, And let me tell you, when you're up and you're positive, when something hits you, it doesn't take you down all the way. But when you're down and something hits you, it's like you're drowning and your head's barely above water, and here comes another 6-foot wave over you, and that's the point where you need help. And I'm not talking psychological necessarily. I'm talking about finding something bigger than those demons, finding a bond with other people, volunteering. My friend Frank, not the guy who's going to come on, Frank McKay. I could have him on too, man. He's awesome. He was the head of the Independence Party. He's a guy. We used to do the clubs together. I was a writer on Long Island. He was a concert promoter, so we palled around a lot, man. We did a lot of shows together, a lot of crazy stuff. We got stories, man. Stories he won't tell. His stories, I'm sworn. But he said, if you're lonely, go out and meet somebody. Volunteer. Go find people. Go do something that you enjoy, and you'll find other people who also enjoy the same thing there. And then whatever, whatever that is, it's there for you. Same thing for a job. Put it out there. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to shop yourself around. Don't be afraid to shop your skills. Put that resume together. Get it done. You need help? You know what? Call the labor department, man. I'm heavily connected with government agencies. Call the labor department. Go online with them. Every state got a labor department. And there's also federal, right? Go to the labor department because they will help you. They will do a resume for you. They'll tell you what companies are looking for. They'll give you different ideas to go in. But a lot of people don't think of these things. They're like, I don't know. I know people ask, you know anybody hiring for this, for that? Go on Indeed. Call the labor department. See what the hell they have. There's something. There's a seat for every ass. There's something out there for you. It depends on what you like. I knew people that were in really high-end, white-collar world, big money, all that stuff, and then reflecting on the days when they were like a waitress, or a waiter or whatever, and they made good money, and it wasn't the pressure that you have. White-collar world, a lot of pressure to perform. If you're obsessive compulsive like I am, you can exist very easily and happily because you set the pace. I like it when I'm on a contract and I'm the one setting the pace. I'm the one in front. The people don't know that because of my psychological condition. Because I'm crazy. Called batshit crazy. And I wanted to go faster. Like when they say go faster, I'm already done. Like I set goals for yourself. Dude, you wouldn't even understand. You wouldn't even understand what goes through my head during the night. and then going back into work, I'm like, yeah, man. I'm a beast. That's what you want. That's what you want. People don't bother me. I don't bother people. I mind my own business. I produce, and I'm loving it, man. Loving it. You know that? But yeah, I work in emergency management. So, and then I deal with a lot of people, I'm also, I don't know. I don't want to go into it, but I'll tell you, man, that's who you want. You want somebody who overthinks, when you're looking to, especially if you're protecting other people. You want somebody who's going to think of every which way, every avenue, every nook and cranny, every crack in the pavement, man. You want to know that. And I over obsess, And then I second guess and third guess. So I'm back doing the same thing, over obsessing. And then I go to sleep at night. And I have these dreams until my cat starts bouncing up and down on the bed, waking me up. I have these dreams of over obsessing, overdoing it, pushing the button. Give me the button and I'll push it. I have no problems pushing a button. When I watch those movies, and these people are very painstakingly, push the button. Just get out of my way. Let me push that sucker here. Get the hell out of my way. Let me push this button already. You freaks. My Native American friends, Navajo. I got a lot of Navajo friends. When we got together one time, they named me Howling Coyote. I don't think the chief had to think about it too long when he was hanging out with me. Howling Coyote. So in the Navajo world, this is actually really cool, man. In the Navajo world, when they were assembling the universe and putting the stars in place, and you had all these people that were there, like, placing that star there and that star there, and they were going very painstakingly slow of assembling the stars in the universe and all that. Here comes the coyote saying it's too slow. The coyote takes the basket of stars, whips it around, and then is there. And that's what they call the Milky Way. So the Milky Way is because of the coyote. You know what I mean? That's right. Not that Roadrunner coyote either. He's not part of our deal as the Howling Coyote. I was thinking about making that my legal name. This is Howling Coyote with you. I'd have to go into FM radio and play jazz. This is Howling Coyote. So whatever. The path you choose, a great man once said that there are many paths up the mountain. Many paths. So you just have to pick one. Philosophically right now, maybe you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to find your purpose. I talked about purpose last week. You don't find your purpose. Your purpose finds you. And then you just need to do what you do. Do what you're good at. We all have talents. We all have amazing talents. I know as a guitarist, Joe Satriani, famous dude. And then I was in the club business on Long Island for a long time. Writer and all that, and all kinds of stuff in the music business. I've pretty much seen it all. And then he was a guy. He used to come into Sundance, Club Sundance, and he played every Wednesday. It was Joe Satriani's night. It was Wednesday night. And he was gaining fame at that point, getting more and more. I'd be hanging out with this dude and watching. Plus, he taught guitar at my friend's parents' music store, Corette Music, in East Meadow, Long Island. And then he taught Steve Vai how to play there and around. But watching him play, man, I love to play the guitar. I do. I don't consider myself a guitarist. I don't consider myself anything. I can play all instruments. We used to hang out in that studio and play everything. At the end of the night, there was a studio upstairs, 3 rehearsal rooms plus a recording space, which belonged to my friend Jake and Rich, 2 brothers. Their parents owned the music store downstairs. So at night, we were able to go down there. When all the bands left, we'd all pile into the big A room and crank everything up, and then go down and take anything, saxophone, bass, whatever the hell you want, and then bring it upstairs and just jam. Best music. We never recorded any of that stuff or whatever, but that was just the best times, best music, best of everything. The good days, man. Not Joe Satriani. He wasn't. Chris Angel used to rent out their studio to do his magic and whatever. And then my friend Rick would be like watching him do it. Then he would start telling people how he does, like, all the tricks. Then he stopped going there because he gave him up. That's funny. But you know what? Watching Joe Satriani play, that's my thing. Man, he's just so wickedly, not just fast, but it's downright mathematical the way he plays. And I say that a lot about other musicians too. Just how they play, just how to me it's like numbers just kind of floating around in my brain as they just go, and just beautiful, man. Steve Vai too. Guthrie Govan is another guy, another great guitarist, and just so soulful and so amazing. And just watching him go check out after the show. Go check it out on YouTube. Guthrie Govan and Hans Bremer. And then you have this orchestra, and Guthrie just kind of just goes for it, and just goes and goes and goes, and the two guitars just like I don't know, like a novel, but he's playing. It's beautiful, man. So I don't play like that, but I play. And I like to play. I don't read notes anymore. I tried getting into that when I was 12, 13, and get the head for it. When I was in school, I played everything. When I saw Star Wars, it was the London Symphony Orchestra that did the score, and I just thought like those trombones and French horns were so cool. So then that was like elementary school to me. So I wanted to take all these instruments. Ended up taking them home. My mom had to deal with that. That's why she was a saint, because she had to listen to me practice the trombone and the French horn and trumpet, and that was pretty much all the wind instruments I think I got into. I never got into violin. I thought it was the most annoying instrument besides the bagpipes. I would buy bagpipes if I hated my neighbors. If I ever needed to really annoy people around me, because one does not just practice the bagpipes. And you can get them on eBay. Screw eBay. I would never do it. Amazon for like a little over $100. Not like that I've looked it up or know that or anything. And I'm like, damn, bagpipes. That's just something that gives all day, doesn't it? But I never did bagpipes. But when you have access to any instrument, I love a piano. I love playing the piano. I love keyboards. Anything like that, and I can get into all kinds of stuff. And of course, I sing, so it's all part of it, man. But watching Joe Satriani, just watching him play, I've seen some great musicians, such talented people in my life, and I feel so like privileged, because I worked for Good Times magazine, and I ran with them for years, just basically going, I think, almost 7 days a week. Every show, not just music, everything else under the sun. I mean, I did Renaissance fairs, I did comedy, sometimes even sports or whatever, but always constantly going. Imagine having free access to every nightclub in New York City, plus Madison Square Garden, Nassau Coliseum, JFK Arena, all the other arenas in the tri-state area. I could just call up, I want backstage passes, give me some tickets, and they hooked me up, right? Hooked me up. I was a judge for the new music seminar in New York City for a couple of years in a row. And then that was just, hundreds of bands and all these different, places, all these different clubs, arenas, whatever you want to call them, a lot of different ones. And then crazy times, man. I had friends in the limousine business. I rented a limousine for that time. I had two beautiful girls from the studio. They were both musicians, man. And then I wasn't romantic with them, but it was fun, man. I'll tell you, it was fun. We had fun. We had a blast going. It was like going to a club, listening to 3 songs, and then that was like, you had to judge that. You know what I mean? Just a blast. I'll never forget those days. I don't even think they exist anymore. I think that the business has become so just gross and pretentious. I think that the most disgusting people rose to the top, like that Puff Daddy. You have people that just use others, that buy and sell people. There was no purity left to the music business. Music business has no purity left. It's all sales. Pepsi, Coke, whatever the hell they're trying to sell is what they're selling. They got Taylor Swift or whatever. And I'm not going to hate on her. I know that Super Bowl, she went on the Jumbotron and tens of thousands of people booed her. Seeing her face that she made just felt so good. It just kind of brings people back to reality. Hey, guess what? You're not necessarily what you think you are. You're just kind of a pawn of an industry. They need the one who fits the suit. At one time it was Madonna. She was the one who fit the suit. Britney Spears, not even anywhere near that degree. But when you have to go in, here's your singer, right? You're a musician, and I've known a lot. I've known a lot of musicians in my life. I've known a lot, right? All kinds, and people that were so talented, like you're like, wow, like a Joe Satriani, or singers that were just amazingly talented, but they were never going to get anywhere because they didn't have that corporate backing, or they didn't have the in that they needed to get back in those days. So I was friendly with this guy Rick Rubin for quite a while, and especially in the beginning with Hollis Queens and rap, and how like Run DMC, the Fat Boys, and all that. That was kind of all that. In Good Times Magazine, they gave me all the rap and the reggae, so that's what I handled basically, and then other stuff too. But that was mainly my thing. So I met Rick, and Rick started an album, a record company, Def Jam, Def American, whatever, at that time, and they were actually taking in these groups that they just came off the street and they came through the door and oh my God, listen to how talented they were, and how awesome they were in their art. And that's kind of a renaissance. It's not like the Seattle thing with all those bands like this bands I like that Kurt Cobain or whatever. I don't even understand how it's okay. It's not my taste. I obviously they sold a lot of albums, but this is what happened when in Seattle you had the grunge scene, which is basically wearing wearing winter clothing, basically flannel, that ripped jeans and flannel, the stuff that we always wore as teenagers anyway, because that's what we wore. But then it became the grunge scene, and I knew at that time this guy Rob, who was A&R producer, artiste in repertoire, the ones who give out albums, right? And brand new company, Relativity Records at the time. And this guy's, calls me up and he's like, man, I'm going to Seattle. I'm like, what the hell are you going there for? And he's like, the Seattle Sound, dude. And this is just in the beginning. And then they all ran out there and looked for any band that had any kind of thing. They got Soundgarden, they got Pearl Jam, they got all these bands that they collected to kind of focus on that. They made these bands famous by production, raw production, money, soap money. So back in the day, these record companies, if you got a record deal, they say, okay, we're going to finance your album. Here's $25,000 or here's $40,000, whatever. You're going to produce the album in our studio. You're going to pay our studio, for the time that you used. And then, if they don't make it and their album doesn't sell, they basically owe that money. It's not the kind of people think, oh, I just signed my record contract and it's worth millions of dollars. Yeah, that's for people who are already established, who have a huge fan base where they were going to be able to sell that music and make that money. But Taylor Swift, she just lost, hundreds of thousands of people getting political. And I always say that too. Why get political? Whatever you do, don't get political in your art, because you're going to divide your group. There's a lot of Republicans that like your music too. Now you alienate people. They're going to run the other way. Whatever, man. I couldn't name one song that she does. I really couldn't. The only way I know Taylor Swift is from the football. And I don't even like football. But watching her and that dude, that's cool, man. I thought it was kind of cool. You got the football hero and the prom queen. It's fucking high school. You know what I mean? It's high school. There's the prom queen. There's the football hero. What they have to do with me? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. My friends are like, you going to the prom? I'm like, what do you want, drugs? Why would I want to go to a prom? You know what we did on prom night, my friends and I, man, in that grade? It was a couple of years, 11th grade, 12th grade. We took girls to the beach because we had cars already. We drove, My friend Marty had like this big Suburban 4-wheel drive. He had a beach permit. We could drive on the beach on Long Island, Democrat Point, go out there camping overnight and whatever. That's what we did. We got some brujas. We got some girls. We hung out and went to the beach and we chilled out, We went to the prom and harassed people that were going coming out. We had, as thugs, we kind of had to support that. You got to support the thuggery. It wouldn't have been a prom without it, man. But wearing whatever, dressing up, it was just never my thing. I'm more leather and not not the little flower. You'll never catch me with a little flower. I'm just not that guy. You know what I mean? I like flowers. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to wear one on my lapel. I don't have a lapel. I kind of do. All my dress jackets are leather, but whatever. That's me. It ain't you. You know, and people say, "Oh, my prom dreams." Whenever people start talking about their stuff, I automatically know that I have basically nothing in common. You know, and they talk about how important their prom was. You know, and they're like 45 years old. You know, talk about your prom, and all of a sudden I'm like, you know, the scoreboard just went off in your life, and it says 0. And I don't, get away from the prom. I don't want to hear about the prom. Did you go to your prom? It's already an intrusive question. Sort of. Sort of. I was the guy in school always kind of getting in trouble, man, because people made fun of me. I had to I had to fight back. I was already well over 6 feet tall in school and growing taller every day. Big, fat kid. People make your life a living hell if you're a fat kid. You make your life a living hell. And I used to put my foot up their ass when they would do it because I was the fat kid that could kick your ass. You know, there was a difference there. They really learned quickly. They learned quick. You know, I'm the fat kid that will kick your ass. So leave me alone. Leave me alone. It's not healthy to do that. It's not good. I was more of the capo di tutti bully because I was the king. I was the bully who bullied the bullies, man. And then any bullies I see messing with people, I had people. You mess with my people, you're gonna see me at your house later on, man. This ain't gonna be the schoolyard. You can't touch me in school. You get in trouble. You'll be at your house. You know, I'm not talking. I'm not talking about school. I'll see you at 3 o'clock. Yeah, man. This guy Joey Sorella in the third grade, who was, you know what? He was a bully, and then he was picking on me, saying all these things, and I said some stuff back to him. Third grade, man. And then he's like, "I'm gonna kick your ass after school. Maybe we'll see you outside 3:15. 3:15 out front." And I didn't back down from anything. I grew up around war heroes, man. When you grow up around war heroes, you don't back down. You listen to these stories of how these guys had to take bayonets and crawl through trenches and do all kinds of shit just to get back to the people that they love. You know, fighting Hitler. You know what I mean? You deal with war. I know Vietnam people too. They're going through Vietnam, doing recon through the jungle and whatever. Back down to Joey Sorrell. Of course, all the other kids are like, "Yeah." So people are watching. So after school, it was winter too. I had my winter coat. I had this really cool Scooby-Doo lunchbox, right? Metal. You know, it was real metal back in the day. You know what I mean? Scooby-Doo. And I'm outside. Go outside. All the kids are out there. They're all circled around. Little jackals trying to seize the moment of violence in the third grade. So Joey Cirillo comes up. He's like, "I'm gonna punch you right in your gut." I said, "Go ahead, punch me right here." I had my lunchbox under my coat. And I was a fat kid, so you can tell. I had my lunchbox under my coat. "Hit me right here, you bastard!" I was like, "Go ahead, hit me right here, bastard. Go ahead, hit me right here. I dare you. Hit me as hard as you can." And he wound up his fist and boom, right into my Scooby-Doo lunchbox. Dented it. A little side action, man. Broke his hand into pieces. Screamed out, "Ah!" All the other kids laughed. I was like, "Yeah." I zipped my coat and pulled out my Scooby-Doo lunchbox. And I was like, "I should whack you with this right now. I'm going to beat your ass with one." He ran home. Don't mess with the fat kid at school. Don't mess with him. Respect RESPCT, God damn it. Respect. Respect. So, what have we learned? I was inventive at the third grade. Number one, I truly miss, you know how much I miss that Scooby Doo lunchbox? I've been looking for them online just to go retro. I wish I had that one still. I had the thermos in there and everything, man. I love my Scooby Doo. It was the best. You know, I don't know what happened to Joey Sorello. He didn't mess with me after that. He didn't even talk to me. All those years in school together. Didn't even, I mean, we were in kindergarten together. But, you know, there's always somebody bigger and better, especially if they're bigger and better. There's always somebody willing to go the extra distance. If you mess with them, they're going to mess you back. You know what I mean? And I didn't grow up in the kind of family where you take people's crap, and I didn't grow up in that kind of world, and I wasn't surrounded by, you know, all, like I said, all the, you know, all my father's friends, aside from being gamblers and womenizers, were all war heroes, you know, and they were war heroes. I mean, he bothered me when I was 50. He was in World War II. He was on the USS Nevada in Pearl Harbor, man. They got blown up. They still fought on, blown up, on fire, had his fingers blown off, and sewn back on again. They found his fingers. And then he was always psyched to show people the scars of his fingers blown up. He was psychopath completely. Had a metal plate in his head from the war. But those guys fought on to fight the Japanese, you know? So when you're around people like that, stories are just amazing. It's not television. It's not a movie. It's not some BS made up. These guys were there. This is when they were young. This is when they call them the greatest generation. This is when they all meant something. A lot of them lied to get in to fight the war when they were 15, 16, you know, just to get in because they wanted to defeat evil is what it was all about. And people pulled together to do it. Everybody, right? Everybody, all walks of life. You know, black people were in every major war we've ever had, you know, and are responsible for this country being what it is today, and the freedom and the rights and all of that, you know. So I don't think that gets honored. It's Black History Month. You don't hear anything about. They talk about individuals and whatever, but what about the ones back then? What about the people that fought in those wars? What about the ones who contributed? You know, and same thing for Native Americans, the code talkers. That the Nazis couldn't understand Native American. They didn't have any concept. You know, so these code talkers got to speak code with one another, help win the war, didn't it? So, you know, but I think as we go forward, we need to celebrate people in of themselves, and you know, not just races or cultures or whatever, but the creativity of mankind. I think we can go into a lot of great directions of evolvement with the creativity of mankind. One of the most important things is that your neighbor, and it doesn't matter who they are, could be whatever religion, whatever. I don't limit myself. I know people who are in organized religion are I don't want to insult anybody, but I'm just going to say that the situation is limited, and I think that they themselves need to look deep into what they do, you know, and because you are what you do, basically. I don't want to hear that crap either that you aren't. You know, you are what you do. You're not what you say you are, but what you do. You know, those are the results of what you are. So I think that going forward, that every country's got something to offer. I think that we don't need war. I think that war is just petty nonsense. It's just, there is evil in the world, people who do harm to others. Anyone who would kill children and mothers, drag them out of their home and snuff them out like they're nothing and brag about it and parade it, anyone like that needs to be gone, eradicated, gone. There's no place for them in a civilized world. There's no place for them. You know, what their brainwashed by is not going to be undone. There's no undo button for that kind of psychopath, So I think that for people to go forward and be recognized universally as a people, you need to focus on harmony and kindness, and also be swift in justice. Yeah, you have to educate people early on of what's right and wrong. There is right and wrong here. There is right and wrong, and I think that the more you go forward, I have this cool pyramid. Can't I don't think I can put it up on this. Next week I'll be prepared for that type of thing. But it's cool because it showcases. No, actually, no. I think I probably can find it. It showcases, I don't want to say this, where you find your happiness, basically. The level of where you're at. Here it is. I'm gonna put this on the screen, because this is important. So let me get rid of this. Let me present. Let me share this. You can tell I'm not really. I'm not as versed into using this type of stuff. So yeah, I don't know if I can show this because it's coming up on a separate screen. Oh, here it is. Try that. Check this out, right? Levels of consciousness. Okay. Let me see if I can. Is this on the screen? Not yet. Here we go. Levels of consciousness. Okay. And this is a very important pyramid to understand. How much time? We got time. So the first level, right? Peace. So that's you want to be in that zone to feel peace, contentment, not having anything dog you necessarily. Of course, it's David Hawkins, who came up with this. So for the levels of synchronicity and extraordinary outcomes, your emotions are joy, gratitude, and love. That's the zone, the peace. You want to be in that zone, right? And it's a good place to be. Understanding, a good place to be, and that's peak performance without stress. When you understand situations, when you don't, that's when stress can kind of hit you. But understanding people in their situations, understanding what goes on, not judging other people, understanding what needs to be done. When I look at criminals and I know they should be locked up, I'm not judging them. I'm understanding what needs to be done, that they need to not hurt other people, and then you can find a world of contentment inside of that, because you're protecting others from people that aren't good, right? Or people that, sociopath, they don't care about other people. They don't care. It's like that guy, that upstate metal recycling company I was just talking about, on the other show. And then, here's a guy who comes in, a sleepy upstate New York town with lots of money. All the local officials are either, in the pocket, or they're just intimidated by them. They go into an area that has no noise ordinance. They go into an area that has no nothing. And they overly build, and they turn the place into a slum, basically, by doing that. And he put new equipment in, started shaking, vibrating miles around people's homes and whatever, and then no one's doing anything about it. No one will do anything about it. So to me, that's a sociopath. The guy knows about it. He denied the whole bit. He knows about the problems or whatever. He never filed an environmental impact suit for putting this equipment in, nothing like that. So, but the bottom line is, the person, he himself, He knows there's a problem. He knows what's going on. He lied about it to begin with, because no corporation ever admits guilt, right? No CEO ever admits guilt. But the bottom line, he knows about the problem. He knows how it's affecting thousands of people around, right? Lowering property values, chasing people out of their homes. People can't sleep at night because their homes are literally shaking, vibrating. It's happened to me too, because I lived in that zone. So what's a sociopath? A sociopath is somebody who hurts others and doesn't care. Somebody who hurts others and has no, they profit off it and they laugh about it and they brag about their wealth. So not every sociopath is rich, but I'm talking about in this particular case, what the person does is that they're hurting other people, and then they have no remorse, right? So anyway, happy and productive. You're in that world of forgiveness, optimism, trust, and courage, right? You have courage. When you're fighting the battle, you need courage. You need trust. You need to trust yourself. Plus, you need to trust people who are close to you. Optimism. It's good to be optimistic, not unreal. You got to be realistic, right? You got to be realistic, because optimism can take you into a whole different world. So can pessimism. You have to be educated and balanced in the situation. But let's go down the list, right? When you're out of the zone, you're stuck in a negative emotion. And everybody's got the emotions. Well, animals have emotions, people have emotions. We all suffer from emotions sometimes. And you should never let somebody's emotion control your own. What most important, right? But pride is hyperactivity. Pride, bad, And then, I watched George Carlin one time, the comedian, did a whole thing about people being proud. He's like, you're going to be proud of your color of your skin. He's like, you have no choice over that. You were born that way. You be proud of an achievement. I'm proud because I did this. I'm proud because I helped these people. I'm proud because I achieved these goals. I worked hard and achieved these goals, right? But pride can lead you down a really nasty slope, right? And anger and desire. Lao Tzu said, "There's no greater curse than desire. No greater curse than wanting something for oneself." Because that can also, how many times you see people's desire lead them down these terrible paths, right? So fear is another. Fear will stop you in your tracks. Fear will make sure you don't achieve things, and then in my world, the only time you fail necessarily is if you don't do something, and then there's no results. But if you try something, it doesn't work, you can take those results and try again and go forward, like every inventor out there that was ever that ever did anything. I think they just stopped after the first thing. So anger, where anger leads you. Anger is just you yourself. I'm mad at this person. Well, they don't care. You're mad at them. They don't care. You're just sitting there boiling, and then they don't care. So, and then we go down the list: fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame. Yeah, grief, because you can grieve too long. And that's what I did from my mom. I went too long, too long. And I was in that hole, and I was by myself, and a few of my friends reached out to me. Michelle on this network, she was one of the only ones, only a few that reached out, but she actually reached out. Hey, how you doing? Like, she was thinking about me. You know how that helps you? That helps you a lot when someone's thinking about you, and they you're on their mind. They want to know if you're okay. That meant a lot to me. So, and then now I'm a volunteer grief counselor. So people are going through stuff, but I'm happy to talk to them. I think as we just go forward, we just need to, we can't take money with us. We can't take gold with us. We can't take Bitcoins with us. But our talents and our abilities and our passion, we can take with us. So I'm going to leave that and end the show. Had a great show tonight. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Look at this. Happy together. I'll see you guys next week on Michael Angley Live. And we'll probably have Frank Torsha on there.